I rattled off three institutions that would consider themselves peers of yours, so Columbia, Penn, Harvard. Have you been targeted similarly by the federal government? Are there funds here that have been frozen or threatened to be frozen?
We had notice actually yesterday of the suspension of some funds and are still seeking a clarification of exactly why these funds were suspended. So there's no respect in which we're immune from this. As you know, from our standpoint, this compact is important to us, and I think it's important for universities to stand shoulder to shoulder as we go forward.
It's funny, in my job, I've talked to a lot of foreign ministers about the threats right now that are happening with regard to trade policy. And I keep asking each of them a very basic question, which is, do you know what you would need to do to satisfy the demands of the US government? And I'd love to put a version of that question to you, which is, so you're having these funds being reviewed, it's happening in other institutions as well. Is it clear what you would have to do differently to have them unfrozen, or is it still something that's very much uncoed or unclear?
Well, in the case that I just described, it is unclear to us. But I also think there's a different way of asking the question, at least for an institution like this one. The question is, you know, what do you do when you have funds frozen in this way? And that depends on the rationale or the justification that the government is giving for its decision. But I think the following things are clear, right? We have to comply with the law. If there's an allegation that there's some kind of unlawful behavior, we have to change that. We have to stand steadfastly against anti-Semitism and all other forms of discrimination, and we will cooperate with the government to address those if that's their concern. But we will also continue vigorously to defend academic freedom, and we will insist on the due process rights of the university. So I think the range of options that a university or anybody else has under those circumstances are, first of all, to litigate if there are concerns, to address legitimate concerns where they exist, and to continue to work with the government to address and move forward on what I think are shared goals. And there should be shared goals here of making sure that the United States continues to be the world leader in research and innovation, making sure that we address all forms of hate or discrimination on our campus, and making sure that we conduct research lawfully. So those conversations I think we can have. You know, there are other people who urge, well, are there other ways that you can accommodate the government in some way, or bend to the government's policy preferences in order to restore funding? I think that's the wrong way, at least for an academic institution, to be thinking about what its responsibilities are. We need to be true to our mission, and we need to be true to our values. And I think that's a way of being true to the broader American mission.